Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Inside Out Network. To help combat invisibility and isolation, those twin evils of reentry that plague both returning citizens and the service providers that are there to try to help them, we've developed a powerful and practical tool. It's a revolutionary online multi-sided platform. What that means is that in a way similar to how eBay or Airbnb or dating sites work to connect different groups of people, buyers and sellers for eBay or hosts and guests for Airbnb or men and women for dating sites, so that they can find each other, get matched, directly engage with each other in helpful ways. The Inside Out Network website makes it easy for inmates and returning citizens and service providers to connect with each other, to search, to find relevant matches, and to reach out proactively and message each other. So I'm going to give you a quick overview so that you can see how it actually works in real time. We're going to go through a short demo twice now. We're going to look at it from the two different sides, from the returning citizen side and from the service provider side. And first, we're going to look at things from the perspective of Joe Newman. Joe is a character we've created to show you the returning citizen user experience, so you can see how Joe benefits from being part of the network. And then when we've done that, we're going to log in again from the perspective of a demo service provider to show you what that user experience is like and how that helps overcome the problems of invisibility and isolation. And we're going to then end with a quick recap and some next steps you can take today. So we're going to go ahead and dive in, and we start right here with the Inside Out Network welcome page. And all you have to do is to go up to insideoutnetwork.net, insideoutnetwork.net, and just hit enter. And everything should go yellow like you're looking at here. And from here, you can go a number of different ways. You can, here where it says continue as guest, and you can click on that and you can get an experience, a very limited experience of the site that just has some simple searches. But for the fuller experience of doing that, you can then register and be part of the network in one of three different ways. One is to register as a returning citizen here and click on that, or click on service provider and do that, or as a volunteer or advocate for people who work in prison ministry or work or for in the area of reentry, for those folks to be able to connect with each other as well. And the other way is, once one of those things has been done and you're registered, then to go ahead and just go ahead and sign in. And we're going to go ahead and do that now. We're signing in, and we're going to sign in as Joe Newman. And we're going to see what the experience of a returning citizen looks like. And when Joe signs in, it will look like this. And up on the top, you can see we're now at Joe's dashboard, and says, "Welcome, Joe Newman." And the dashboard will pop up and will look like this. And for the returning citizen, it's structured this way. He has his profile, and we'll look at that in just a moment to see the kind of personal information about Joe that he's willing to share, so that he's not invisible anymore and he can be seen by service providers. There's some frequently asked questions about how the site works. There's a listing of sort of favorites that Joe has found from service providers. He's clicked on some to have a working list for himself. And I'll just do that so you can get a sense of this is the list here: Inside Out Connections Ministry, Chicago Victory Church, Haymarket Center. These are Joe's working list of all the providers that are out there. Joe can save some of those and work his own list. There's a little notepad that Joe can click on to add a simple personal note. Just type in and then just add note. Call Tom tomorrow. Remember to sign up for Wednesday's class. Don't forget to call Mike. And these can be edited or deleted at any time, but they stay with Joe, whether it changes his phone, changes his email, whatever. These things are always there for him to be able to save his notes. So we'll go back to the dashboard. There's some helpful reentry tips. And then down here, it says search providers by name, if he happens to know the name of a particular organization. Otherwise, Joe's going to want to go up here to the search function up at the top, and we're going to just go ahead and do that. We're going to click on search, And when we do that, it'll say service provider search and just select one at a time. And there are 9 different categories that we've identified: shelters and housing, support networks, multi-service agencies, and these would be the kinds of agencies that would offer anger management classes or haircuts or sometimes food and clothing, a whole variety of different wraparound services that a returning citizen might want. And that's sort of a catch-all category there. Churches and ministries, substance abuse treatment, healthcare, legal matters, employment and job training, and education. So we're going to just go ahead and click on, let's just say Joe is now in need of some kind of housing. And so we'll click on that. Joe's default address is based on the north side of Chicago, and there you see it, 920 West Wilson in Chicago. And then out for a distance of 15 miles, it will search for relevant matches close to Joe. And if you click on here, you can see it goes all the way from as little as 5 miles in a dense urban environment, all the way to 100 miles. And you can change this and look farther out if you're in a rural setting and needing to be looking farther afield for the help that's out there. So Joe, you'll see this is listed by proximity to him. He's on the north side of Chicago here, and the closest one is Cornerstone Community Outreach. So we're going to go ahead and just look at that just to see what that looks like. And we'll just go ahead and click on Cornerstone Community Outreach. And this is the kind of search results that we find here. Joe can click on the website to see that. Call, there's the phone number there. But Joe can also just go straight to where it says message here and contact the provider. So we'll just click on that to see what that does. And a message box comes up, and Joe could just enter whatever message he wants to send and ask about availability or programming or hours or whatever it is that he might want to check on, to apply for, and then click send message, and that goes directly to the relevant person at Cornerstone Community Outreach. But since Joe is not real and they are, we won't bother them with that. But they do provide shelters and housing. You see that they have put these are the services they have. They've got some of their restrictions: no sex offenders, walk-ins are not welcome, interim shelter for men, women, and families, weekly food pantry and soup kitchen. And then they've uploaded their logo as well. So, and right here where it says favorite, Joe can either click or unclick. When he does this and fills that in, that will be added to his favorites list or deleted from his favorites list if he wanted to do that. It's as simple as that. So we can go back to the dashboard, and all the searches work and function in the same way. So again, on any of these categories, I'll just do substance abuse treatment. Again, it will pop up, and then a different listing will come up to show where those services are in proximity to where Joe's address is. And if Joe happens to be in a different part of the city, you could simply type in a new address and enter, and then it would rearrange the service providers available to him in order of how close they are to the address that's been put in here. So that's basically how the search function works for Joe looking to try to make connections with different service providers. Now we're back at the dashboard, and I'm going to show you a couple of things, and we're going to look at Joe's profile, but then we're also going to go on and look at the messages. In fact, let's do that now, since your eye has probably been caught by this one over here where it says demo service provider, and there's an alert then for Joe that he has a new message waiting for him. And so let's go ahead and click on that so that can be looked at. And let's just scroll to the top, because we've been doing this for demo purposes for a while. And so this is a listing, a thread that's been kept of the messages going back and forth between Joe Newman and the demo service provider. And if you just look at the beginning, you realize this actually was initiated by the demo service provider. Hi, Joe, welcome home. We have a Tuesday evening support group that's full of guys who are working hard to get their life back on track, and so on. This was the catalyst to start this this relationship going back and forth. Joe says, great, can I bring a friend? Yes, get back to me. And then we've been going back and forth and showing, for demo purposes, back and forth to show how this messaging works. And we'll just go to the bottom, we'll scroll to the bottom here. And the last messages that were going back that Joe said, can we do this online instead? Working on that now, we'll let you know, this demo service provider said. And so Joe's gonna say, great, just let me know. And send the message, and it's as simple as that. And that's now gone off. The message has been sent off to the demo service provider. And if we go back to Joe's dashboard, when he has kind of looked at that and opened it up, the notification that he has a new message goes away. And that's now just part of the message thread that Joe has. And then there's can be a whole listing of whoever he's exchanged messages with over time. So as we just go back to the to Joe's dashboard, we're just going to take a quick look at Joe's profile just so that you know what's in that. And so this is the returning citizen profile. So just some personal information, the name, gender, date of birth, email, and we ask for an email in order to, if there's a lost login information or password, that we can do a reset. So we do ask for Joe to try to come up with one like that so that he could be doing that. Any kind of prison ID number, if Joe was enrolled while he was in an inmate, that's a way to kind of track and have an initial username that would be a unique username. As we go down, there's some address information. You know, if Joe was, while he was locked up, maybe he didn't exactly know, where he would be living, and he was trying to figure that out. But it would be the best guess of the zip code where he's going to be released if that's all he had. But he did have a sense that he would be going back and staying with family at 920 West Wilson in Chicago. Any reliable phone numbers, if those are in there, up to a maximum of 3. Projected release date, that is maybe Joe was enrolled while he was 6 months prior to his release. But then on the 1 month prior to Joe's release date, his profile goes live into the system so that relevant matched service providers will be able to see his profile and could proactively reach out to him. And so that's what triggers that for his profile to go live into the system. Questions about whether he's under parole or not, that's an optional question. Can fill out information about his education. Let's just say he has a GED. We'll just go ahead and fill that in. There's some optional questions about whether he's been convicted of a violent offense or a sexual offense. These are optional questions, but that can also cut down and save a lot of frustration all around. If Joe just sort of indicates those sorts of questions, the answers to those, so that he can get into some appropriate programming. Joe then can figure out what services he's interested upon release, whether he thinks I need a support group, that would be good, or he doesn't need it at this time. He can select all that he feels that he needs help in any of these particular areas. And then there's a freeform area at the bottom for Joe to be able to figure out, to be able to share some things that he wants to say about himself. Maybe some of his work history, some of his particular competencies, some of his desire to make some changes in his life. And since we just made a little change, we'll go ahead and update the record now. And it says successfully updated. So that's been added to Joe's returning citizen profile. And you'll see up at the top here, it says cancel subscription. Joe needs to know and has an ability to cancel a subscription at any time to be able to get out, and has a right to be forgotten if he no longer needs to have this, to utilize this service of the Inside Out Network. So we'll go back to his dashboard. That's a quick look at the dashboard and the experience for Joe Newman. He wants to do just a couple of key things here on the site. He wants to be able to search for the help that's out there, to find some relevant matches and be able to initiate some messages with some of those providers, to be able to save some of those to a working list, to save some notes back and forth, and to update his profile so that some information about him can go out to some relevant service providers. Joe doesn't need to like us, follow us, any of those things. There's never a charge for Joe to use this. It's a tool for him, and it's absolutely free. So that's the core experience of Joe Newman on the Inside Out Network, and we're going to switch that now to the other side of this multi-sided platform. We're going to log out, and then we're going to log back in this time as the demo service provider, and we're going to sign in, and we're going to get a bit of a different experience this time. And so for the demo service provider, it says again, welcome demo service provider here. And you'll notice up at the top, the main menu is the same. There's the search function, and it works exactly the same as it does for Joe. There's no differences in the search. The ability to send and receive messages is the same as happens that Joe has, and it works the same way. And you'll notice over here now there's a new message from Joe, and we saw that, right? That was that Joe sent that message. So one of the things for the demo service provider, there is a new message from Joe Newman there, but the demo service provider did not have to go online to the Inside Out Network to see if there are any new messages, because the demo service provider has an email address associated in their profile with this account, and they'll get a notification through their email that there is a new message from Joe Newman waiting. And so as an alert to be able to go and check out to see what Joe was sharing in that way. So we can just look at that. We'll go ahead and click, and it's the same thread. And then here it is. Joe says, great, just let me know. And we'll just put in, we start the new program on April 15. Call the office to register. And we'll send that off, and it's gone through. So we'll go back to the dashboard for the demo service provider. I'm going to show you just a couple of different things. You'll notice that there's a kind of a longer list for the demo service provider, more things going on than we're going on for Joe, because there's some special needs and possibilities that open up for the demo service provider. Your eye probably went to this, again, you're seeing two here for new releases, and we're going to go ahead. So it's an alert that there have been new matches with people that have been released from prison. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And here's a couple of new people. And since these are real people, we're not going to disclose their personal information. But these are two that have just been released and have just gone into the system, and we could simply click on this. It would then open up. We would see the details that they want to share with service providers, and an ability to instantly message each of those people to say, "Welcome home. We've got programming. We would love to hear from you. Here's what you do to take the next step." So let's just go back to the dashboard. So those are the new releases that have come out. And then you can just see up here, my returning citizen profiles. This includes not just those new ones, but the whole list of people that have been matched with the returning citizens that have been matched with the demo service provider. And there are a couple of functions that the service provider could do with this list. One of the ways to do it is to take that list and be able to export that data out. It goes in a format that can then be opened up in an Excel spreadsheet. That would help a service provider to be able to track for follow-up, to have that data to begin some files that they're working on with their clients. It just gives a kind of a head start to that whole process. And then also, let's just say the demo service provider offers some employment services, and a new employer comes on board and they're looking for 40 people to work a second shift, and the service provider then could send a group message, could click up to 20 names at a time and send a group message saying, if you're still looking for employment, we have a new client that's come on board looking for second shift workers. Contact our office if you're interested and still looking for work, and to be able to do that. So it gives you some real potential to be able to work with it right within the website to be able to do that. So we'll go back to the dashboard, show you two more things that the demo service provider how that works. And one is to look at the provider profile. And we already looked at Joe's returning citizen profile and some of the information on what that looked like. And now we're going to look at the service provider profile. And here you see the provider name, the website, the password, a street address, and we asked for no post office boxes. We need an actual physical street address. And the reason is we're trying to be able to track down, for the search function. So for Joe to be able to find service providers, agencies, ministries, churches, and those kinds of things, to be able to know where they are and for that to show up on a search result, we're looking for an actual street address. Phone number, email address. Now, each individual location needs its own unique email address. That allows us to be able to reset passwords so that any messages that can get sent back and forth to the service provider will be associated with this particular email address. So if you happen to have if you're a service provider that has multiple locations, you'd need a different email address for each of those locations so that you can track the messages coming to each location. The business hours, there's detailed ways in which you can fill these out, or a quick way like this, Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Whether they need to call or write or email for an appointment, eligibility requirements like county residency or minimum age, any restrictions, like female only or violent offenders, whatever restrictions that would happen to be on particular programming for what you offer, cost for any services, if any, that it would be on there. There's a little thing that toggles back and forth about whether walk-ins are welcome or not. And then each service provider would determine what categories that they fall under. If you, for example, the demo service provider doesn't provide education, so they've left this one blank. They've decided, no, we're now running some classes that we would want to fill that in, and be able to just change it that way, so that it would show up in any search results. So in order to match and make more relevant matches, the service provider themselves decides which of these 9 categories would be appropriate ways for them to be putting things in here. And sometimes you would start with a couple of things, and you would not have any support groups for a while, but then you may start new programming and you add support groups, and then you would go ahead and to change that back. There's a longer list of description of the services that you provide, and then a shorter description for the results page where you put just a sentence or two that would be on there. And then finally at the bottom, to have a photo or logo that you'd like to upload, you can just click on that and drop the image in and then submit, and you're good to go. It's that easy to enroll. So let's go back to the dashboard, and to show you one final thing. Everything we've been showing you up till now, for the most part, has been combating the evil of invisibility. That returning citizens who are looking for the help that's out there can't see it, and that service providers that are looking to connect with the relevant people that they're who are leaving prison, that they want to connect with, and they can't see them. All of the searching and messaging up till now has been aimed at trying to combat that problem. But there's also the problem of isolation, and how so many service providers work in their own organizational silo, and that's not working as well. So let's just click on the ION Hub. The ION Hub, you see, looks a little different than the other sections that we've looked at. It may look vaguely reminiscent of like a Facebook page or something, where you've got a main section for a main feed that can be put in there. And then on the side, you've got this sidebar, this panel, where there can be all sorts of other groups. You can start a new group, you can search for groups, you can start a new group, you create a group. And here, for example, under Pima County Reentry Group, Pima County is in Arizona. And so I posted something to the Pima County Reentry Group that there's guidelines on getting out. It's a reentry guide. Some people know about it and some don't, but this is just kind of lifting it up and letting people know that there was such a thing. And so be able to kind of collaborate and communicate and share some information with other service providers, with people that are working in prison ministry and reentry side. So for people to kind of collaborate and to communicate, know some things and learn some things from each other. It'd be kind of an ongoing collaborative tool. So here's a little description that talks about it over here. And so let me just kind of read that to you so you get a better sense of it. This is a private area. It is not accessible to returning citizens. They can't see any of this. And this is a part of the website where service providers and churches and volunteers can interact directly with each other. You can create or join all kinds of specialized groups, like volunteers at a specific prison. Many times people working volunteers at a prison don't know each other. They don't know others that are there, and it's hard for them to kind of coordinate their efforts. Or people working with female inmates across a certain state, or churches working with sex offenders. We want you to be creative, but you can post to a discussion thread to ask for advice or to learn some best practices or meet pressing needs or make referrals. This could be a county reentry coalition that wants to kind of work together. And this is their ongoing place to be able to go to the hub and share some information, communicate with each other, and not do that on Facebook, but to do it all under one in one place here. So when we go back to the dashboard, I think you've got the basic sense of how this works from Joe's perspective and now from the demo service provider. Again, searching, being able to share messages and initiate contact with people leaving prison from all across the state. You see them, if you're a service provider, you see inmates who've been enrolled while inmates coming your direction. You see the size of the opportunity in front of you, and you can reach out proactively and initiate things and make something happen. You can change your profile at whatever time. You can send group messages out. You can reach out to people just as they're being released. So it's a very simple interface. We want it to be very intuitive, kind of easy to use, simple, but still powerful, and make some real changes. So there you have it. It's simple, but it's powerful, and it can make a difference. And so we just want to invite you to get started today. And I guess the best and quickest way for you to do that is to go to the website right now, again, insideoutnetwork.net, and just register, right? We already kind of talked about that. You can do that. You already saw the registration forms. You can do that in under 10 minutes and be up and running. Now, if you're a returning citizen and you're on probation or on parole, just sign up. There's no cost to you, and there never will be any cost to you. And so just go ahead and do that. If you're a service provider, or if you're a volunteer or a kind of reentry advocate, there is no charge and there's no obligation for signing up. It's a free year that everybody gets. And we understand this is something new, and you probably have some questions about how that'll all work. We just want you to be able to try it free for a year. And if you want to continue after that, and we hope you do, you can go to a subscription plan that's only $100 per year per organization, even if you have multiple locations. Again, only $100 a year per organization after a free year. Or it's only $25 a year for an individual volunteer or an advocate working in prison ministry or in reentry. Now, if you have additional questions or you'd like a deeper dive and a longer demo of this ION website, just email us at admin@insideoutnetwork.net. Again, admin, ADMIN, @insideoutnetwork.net.